Peter Lenz was an American amateur motorcycle racer who raced from the mid to late 2000s. Born in Winter Park, Florida, Peter Lenz lived in Vancouver, Washington with his parents and two sisters. At just the age of 5, he began riding in the dirt on a Yamaha and quickly started racing. At 7 years old, he progressed to pocket bikes on pavement, which he rode on for the next 2 years. In the Oregon Motorcycle Road Racing Association, he showcased his talents. His early results caught the attention of teams all the way overseas. Then soon after began competing internationally, all before the age of 10. By 2009, he was already a 4-time international champion as well as a 5-time national champion, dominating in every single category he progressed to, even going undefeated in a few. In 2007 alone, he scored 38 victories. By 2009, he began racing full-time on 125 GP race bikes, becoming the youngest licensed expert racer in 2 different series, as well as becoming the youngest to also win a race in both as well.
Some things on the road race course that you really don't expect, like on the last couple laps, your tire starts sliding out. Well, you learn that in motocross, or like if it gets really muddy in the backyard, it's sort of like rain riding. I never knew tires would make such a big difference.
You need to put some fast laps and try and chase them 2 down at the front. Peter notes again, looks up the inside on the freeway turn, puts on a very experienced block pass. We certainly made up for today. Got the fastest lap of the race on lap number 8, 59.2. So you were certainly hauling while you were out there. Now your dad said you were waiting to go to the restroom. Is that what you were pushing so hard?
Yes. No, not really. I don't really. I really focused on like my bathroom race or all that. Everything just seems to go away and I just go for it. I don't really think about anything else.
Well, you better think about that future world championship, because if you keep going like this, Peter, that's where you're going to be.
He was featured in Road Racing World's 2009 and 2010 Young Guns North America's Fastest Kids feature. By age 13, Peter Lenz established himself as one of the best amateur riders in all of North America. The dream was to one day ride in the professional ranks, and with all the talent Peter Lenz has showcased, he certainly was on his way to doing so. But for those who have been around or have watched motorsports for many years, whether it's professionally or in the amateur ranks, it's always going to be dangerous no matter what. And Peter Lenz understood this at a very young age.
This has been really good football. I got 5 acres of riding ground, and I can't ride on it until I get this off, and then until I get my arm back. If I did. It's just, this probably been the hardest couple months of my life, or since I actually first rode a bike, which was when I was 5. So, in the last 7 years. Yeah, I'm definitely coming back next year. There's no question about that. I can't stay away from motorcycle racing.
In 2007, he suffered a fractured arm after a rider accidentally bumped his handlebar. Then in 2009, he suffered a brake failure and hit the tire barriers at Portland International Raceway. After suffering several broken bones, it would have been understandable if Peter didn't want to race again. This included a broken tibia, femur, and fibula. But as you saw in his interview, nobody was forcing him to race. He wanted to. With the help of his family, he healed up physically and mentally and went back to racing in no time. 2010 was business as usual. He progressed up the ranks, continued to win races, and best of all, was enjoying spending quality time at the racetrack with his friends and family. These images stand out to me personally because they were taken at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, my home track of all places. Throughout 2010, the family continued to race all across the country, winning in 4 of his first 12 races, and was the US Grand Prix Riders Association points leader. Unfortunately, all that promise would end tragically on August 29th, 2010, when at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, tragedy would strike.
Tell me what you saw unfold yesterday.
Unfortunately, I saw something that I had wished I hadn't seen. young riders were coming around turn 4 and coming down the straightaway and hit the one of the curbs on the right-hand side of that straightaway and went into a speed wobble and was high-sided, which was thrown over his handlebars. Initially, he seemed fine. He sat up, he raised his hand so the other riders could see him. Unfortunately, he was near the front of the pack, and the rest of the pack was coming around that same corner. And a couple riders, one in behind each other, didn't see him, and he turned to actually stand up to be more visible, and unfortunately, that's when he was hit.
Lenz was involved in a fatal crash during the warm-up lap at Indianapolis, where he fell from his bike at the 4th turn of the road course and was struck by a 12-year-old rider. He was placed in a neck brace and given chest compressions by medical workers at the track, and while he was being transported to Indianapolis Methodist Hospital, he would be pronounced dead some 3 hours later after the incident. He was the youngest competitor and the first motorcycle racing death in the circuit's history. In the aftermath, questions were being asked about the surface, as it was FIA spec temporary curbing, not the required FIM spec curbing that the track was supposed to use. MotoGP champion Valentino Rossi fell 4 times at the track during practice and warm-ups, and other top riders acknowledged the track surface conditions were very difficult. Another question from motorsports outsiders was, how could a 13-year-old be permitted to race? Some going even as far as asking when the parents were going to be held responsible for their son's death. This was absolutely disrespectful and uncalled for. Not even a month had passed when this disrespectful, idiotic question was being brought up. A kid dies in a total freak racing accident, and some of you have the audacity to ask if the parents should be held responsible? His family never forced him to race. Now, over a decade after his passing, I'm sure his parents would give anything to have those times back. I could go on and on about Peter Lenz's motorcycle racing accomplishments during his short time on this earth, but this one hits even harder because this was just a kid. He hadn't even lived his life yet. I never knew him, and it hits me personally because we were born in the same year, even played some of the same sports growing up as well. I know some of you watching are currently the same age as he was. This is just a reminder to enjoy life to the fullest, no matter how old you are, because you never know when it's going to be your last day on Earth. To this day, people in the motorcycle racing world believe Peter Lenz would have been the next big thing, the next great American hope to eventually race in MotoGP. His passing leaves a major what if in motorcycle racing history, and a life that was tragically cut short way too soon. Peter Lenz was 13 years old. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.